Students, let's proceed with your history chapter When People Rebel 1857 and After Part 2. After 100 years of conquest and expansion, the British faced a major uprising in the form of the Revolt of 1857, which started in May and threatened the power of the company. It was unsuccessful but was a heroic effort to end the British rule in our country. The British historians called it a purely military revolt, while the Indians regard it as the first war of independence. The Revolt of India 1857 is often termed as the First War of Independence because, for the first time in Indian history, different segments of Indian society stood up against common enemy, the British. A mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. Though struggles between rulers and the ruled are not unusual, sometimes such struggles become quite widespread as a popular resistance so that the power of the state breaks down. A very large number of people begin to believe that they have a common enemy and rise up against the enemy at the same time. Such a situation developed in the northern parts of India in 1857. After 100 years of conquest and administration, the English East India Company faced a massive rebellion that started in May 1857 and threatened the company's very presence in India. Sepoys rebelled in several places beginning from Meerut, and a large number of people from different sections of society rose up in rebellion. Some regard it as the biggest armed resistance to colonialism in the 19th century anywhere in the world. The first sign of revolt. The first sign of revolt was seen in Barakpur in Bengal. A Brahman sepoy of 34th Infantry, Mangal Pandey, refused to use the greased cartridge. On 29th March 1857, he was hanged to death for killing 2 English officers. It resulted in general uprising at Meerut, Delhi, Kanpur and Lucknow. From Meerut to Delhi, main cause of revolt of 1857. After the death of Mangal Pandey, sepoys of the regiment at Meerut refused to do the army drill using the new cartridges, which were suspected of being coated with the fat of cows and pigs. 85 sepoys were dismissed from service and sentenced to 10 years in jail for disobeying their officers. This happened on 9th May 1857. The response of the other Indian soldiers in Meerut was quite extraordinary. On 10th May, the soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. They attacked and killed British officers. They captured guns and ammunition and set fire to the buildings and properties of the British and declared war on Firangis. The soldiers were determined to bring an end to their rule in the country. But who would rule the land instead? The soldiers had an answer to this question, and the answer was the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. The sepoys of Meerut rode all night of 10th May to reach Delhi in the early hours next morning. As news of their arrival spread, the regiments stationed in Delhi also rose up in rebellion. Again, British officers were killed, arms and ammunition seized, buildings set on fire. Soldiers gathered around the walls of the Red Fort where the Badshah lived, demanding to meet him. The emperor was not quite willing to challenge the mighty British power, but the soldiers persisted. They forced their way into the palace and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. The aging emperor had to accept this demand. He wrote letters to all the chiefs and rulers of the country to come forward and organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight the British. This single step taken by Bahadur Shah had great implications. The Mughal dynasty had ruled over a very large part of the country. Most smaller rulers controlled different territories on behalf of the Mughal ruler. Threatened by the expansion of British rule, many of them felt that if the Mughal emperor could rule again, they too would be able to rule their own territories once more under Mughal authority. The British had not expected this to happen. They thought the disturbance caused by the issue of the cartridges would die down. But Bahadur Shah Zafar's decision to bless the rebellion changed the entire situation dramatically. Often, when people see an alternative possibility, they feel inspired and enthused. It gives them the courage, hope, and confidence to act. The leaders of 1857 revolt were Bahadur Shah Zafar, Mangal Pandey, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Nana Sahib, Liaquat Ali, Tantia Tope, Kuwar Singh, Bhakt Khan, Khan Bahadur Khan Rohila. The rebellion spreads. After the British were routed from Delhi, there was no uprising for almost a week. It took that much time for news to travel. Regiment after regiment mutinied and took off to join other troops at nodal points like Delhi, Kanpur, and Lucknow. After them, the people of the towns and villages also rose up in rebellion and rallied around local leaders, zamindars, and chiefs who were prepared to establish their authority and find the British. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the late Peshwa Bajirao, who lived near Kanpur, gathered armed forces and expelled the British garrison from the city. He proclaimed himself Peshwa. He declared that he was the governor under Bahadur Shah Zafar. In Lucknow, Birjis Kader, the son of the deposed Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, was proclaimed the new Nawab. Begum Hazrat Mahal took an active part in organizing the uprising against the British. In Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai also joined the rebel sepoys and fought the British along with Tantia Tope, the general of Nana Sahib. The main centers of this revolt were Delhi, from where Bahadur Shah Zafar fought, Kanpur, from where Nana Sahib fought, Begum Hazrat Mahal fought from Lucknow, Khan Bahadur from Bareilly, Kuwar Singh from Bihar, Rani Lakshmi Bai from Jhansi. Peasants, artisans, shopkeepers, zamindars, religious mendicants, priests, civil servants joined the revolt. Peasants attacked moneylenders and destroyed their debt records. Of 1,50,000 died fighting the English in Awadh, over 1 lakh were civilians. Now, what was the outcome of this revolt? The revolt was completely suppressed and crushed by July 1858. Bahadur Shah Zafar surrendered to the British. The company fights back. The British had regained control of the country by the end of 1859, but they could not carry on ruling the land with the same policies and more. So they introduced few changes. The British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the powers of the British East India Company to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. A member of the British Cabinet was appointed Secretary of State for India and made responsible for all the matters related to the governance of India. He was given a council to advise him called the Indian Council. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy, that is, a personal representative of the Crown. All ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. They were allowed to pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including adopted sons. However, they were made to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. So the Indian rulers were to hold their kingdoms as subordinates of the British Crown. It was also decided that the proportion of the Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. It was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, Central India, and South India, more soldiers would be recruited from among the Gurkhas, Sikhs, and Pathans. The land and property of Muslims was confiscated on a large scale and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. The British believed that they were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. The British decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of the people in India. Policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. So, a new phase of history began after 1857 revolt. With this topic, your chapter Revolt of 1857 ends. Thank you, children.